Hey everyone, it's Cuddlecraft back with another Winston guide. This is going to be part 2. It's going to be kind of half of a review of the previous guide, and then half some newer stuff that I've learned over the course of my Winston time. I've got about 30 hours on Winston, so I know him pretty well for being level 200. He's one of my better heroes. And I've watched a lot of pro gameplay like Mono from NYXL and a few other pro players. But today I'm just going to give you guys basically the part 2 to the previous one. So right here you can see already I'm poking at their backline. I'm taking a lot of damage, but I'm getting out by the time I need to. Now that jump pack was annoying, but what I've done there is I've just pressured their backline and distracted them to buy my team time to focus. That's what Winston really is, buying time and distracting people. Because the more you do that, the more you'll be able to really, get your full value out of him. So I'm just getting back to point real fast. Now I'm going to go straight in, I'm going to bubble. And then I'm going to fall back to my bubble. Use it as like a barrier, basically. Almost as like a Orisa shield. Just using it to create like a divide. So I'm going to pounce on this soldier. I see he's isolated. And then I'm going to actually just get the Baptiste because soldier runs away. I'm going to go back for the soldier again. I'm going to get him. And then I can immediately rotate into this room. Use it as cover, bubble onto the Mei. You can see there I ignored that hog. I just completely went past him. Because if I stay on the hog, then I'm just never going to get any value. So I bubble here, jump back. And that's really, you want to save your jump pack for disengaging instead of engaging. It's like right here they're all clumped up, so I'm just going to primal. And I'm getting low, I'm already half health. By the time I need to get out, I've got a bubble I can place down. Then I can get behind this wall and jump back over the Mei wall and just get out of there. So that's going to really be your first priority, to get value out of his basic stuff. His just using his jump pack and his bubble to rotate around. You can see McCree here. I'm guarding him. Then I'm going to bubble so I can focus the immortality field, and then I can jump pack. Jump packing into the air, people don't often do that, especially in the lower areas, basically up to about platinum. But it's actually really useful. You can really get a good you can get a good sense of where everyone is. So I'm going to get on high ground, saving. That's the key with high ground. You want to save your jump pack, so you can jump pack onto high ground, then wait a little bit, and then jump down. So right here, I'm not engaging. I'm just going to wait. The Zen sees me, so I'm forced to engage. Otherwise, I'm going to have to disengage, which I'm not trying to do. You can see I'm bubble dancing there, and then I can rotate to this heal pack. So now I'm a full health, basically, Winston 1v1ing a Zen in their backline. Now, I've taken a lot of damage, but I can still rotate back to the health pack, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to push in and die on point to stall for us to respawn out. I was trying to charge my ultimate, and then I could have used it on point, but it was too late. So that's your first part. That's part of the newer stuff. You want to soft engage. I talked a little bit about that in the last one. Just when less is more, basically, which I'll get into in a second later once we get to a different game. But yeah, you just want to just take your time, think about how you play methodically. Don't just panic and rush, because then you're just going to die. So kind of going into this next part, here, this is going to be more focused on your bubble. Now, your bubble is one of the most useful things you have in your kit, besides your jump pack. But I mean, your bubble is really useful. It's not like a, I don't know, like some like a very useless thing that you just never use. Like you're gonna be using your bubble a lot. Look at this. I'm not even fighting them here. There's no point in fighting them. I'm just gonna die. I'm gonna wait for them to pass me. Use the bubble to dance. I can just go back and forth in the bubble, and then look right here. I can rotate to these heals. So I just gotta pick on that Zen, and the only ult I charged was his, which is probably the best ult you want to charge because he's the one you're killing. So right here, I'm just going to bubble on point because I know we have a winning fight. But then Moira goes down, so I'm going to get back on high ground and wait for a squishy to be out of position. But then I notice the hog over there, and he's just going to come over to my side and wreck me. So I'm going to drop down on the low ground again, rotate around, jump onto the soldier, and he's isolated and he's gone. So I can rotate to the heals again, and then I can jump up, and I'm in their back line. Now I am fighting the hog there for a second, but that was just to charge your ult, because I mean I'm not really slowed down too much by fighting him, and I can charge my ult, which I don't think if I had fought that hog, that Brig would have killed me. So that's really what you wanna if you can zap someone, zap them. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going to kill them or not, especially when you know you're about to go into a bad fight. Like, I knew I was going to have to fight a Brig, which isn't good for a Winston. And I knew I was close to my ult, so that's just game sense. Just knowing, just being able to take in everything at once. So right up here, I'm going to guard my Hanzo a little bit, because I know they're going to be pushing on him if he's by himself. So I'm just waiting. I can just wait. I mean, yes, they're picking us all off, but by the time I need to push in, I've gotten behind the soldier. Hanzo's gotten an ult off. It's not done much, but it's scared them off the point, and we've got a fresh tank here. And I can take out the Zarya. I'm gonna land right up here with my jump pack. And then I'm gonna bubble, and now I'm just slowing them down, and all while this is happening, we've been draining their time. We started out here at about like 2 minutes, and they've made it they've made it through the alleyway, but once they got to a point where I could stay on these roofs and push at their backs, they've just been stuck. And I'm just going to drop down on the Mei, isolate her, bubble so she can't freeze me, and yeah. So now we're on Watch Point Gibraltar, which is a very interesting map for Winston. You've got this open chasm here, which is really bad for the first game. But I noticed the Rhine's moving over. I'm like, oh, well, there's just an Ashe and a Mercy over here. Why not fight them? Mercy's going to try and run away. My bubble's down. But now I've forced the Ashe to use her mobility ability. And now she's by herself on point, so I'm just going to jump on her, take her out, bubble, and then I can get the Ana and the Ashe. Now, their team comes back, but I've just created so much space by doing that. Usually in games you could get caught up at that choke point and you could be held off for a while, but I just destroyed the choke point. Now they're not holding that far up, and even if we all die, we've still managed to push through that choke, so we know what to do again. They'll probably make the same mistake, and we've staggered, so there's no chance in all of us dying at once. Now this Mercy's damaging me heavily, so I'm just going to wait up here. And I thought I was safe, so I decided I was going to emote in a second, and we'll just see what happens. The Junkrat comes for me and just instant combos me. So, yes, that's a good example of just creating space. As Winston, that's your main goal, because you're not heavy damage output, you're not really any of that, you're more of a utility main tank. So going into this next fight, I know I've created space because we've got the Sonic Arrow on them, and I know now because of that play we can probably, unless we play bad, we can take A. A is pretty much secured, we just have to play well. Now Ryan goes in for a charge here. I'm going to bubble to isolate him. Now, it's not too much, but I'm trying to get out of here because I'm fighting tanks, and that's not really what I need to be doing. But I notice a low May comes in, and I'm right behind her. I might as well kill her. I see this Junkrat wrecking us. He's just destroying our line, and then I can take him out and get a crossfire on the point, but there's no need to because they're all dead. So that's good awareness right there and more game sense. I saw that Junkrat getting heavy damage and maybe even getting close to his ult. And I don't want him to be able to use that ult, take us all out, and buy enough time for the respawns to come back and us be stuck on A again. So I just initiated. And I saw that Hanzo Sonic arrow, so I knew something was up, so I managed to take out this D.Va. Now I go to bubble it to save the rest of us, but I do die. But I know Mercy has her res because I didn't see her res in that last fight too late. So, yes, I wasted a res, but I mean, you could say anybody wasted a res, technically. So, I got a lot of value out of that death. So, Hanzo's going and ulting. And I see this Bastion. I know I'm going to bubble him. I'm not even going to fully bubble him. I'm going to bubble him to buy time for us to push up. And we can get behind that van. I see an isolated Ana, so I go for her. Now, I am primaling on a Rhine. I was fighting that Rhine there. And that's just because I need to distract him and take him out. Because I can basically heavily damage him. And by the time I need to, I can get out. So right here, you can see I can rotate, and there's the health pack again. Now, Orisa knows I'm coming around here. So she's going to come around, but I can still get this Ana out of position because of my bubble. Now Mercy is healing me here, which is great, but also not because we're all kind of dead except me. So here I am just trying to survive as long as possible. Honestly, I'm just feeding here, but I'm taking so much damage from different people, so I'm not really feeding a certain ult. I'm just giving everyone a little bit of ult charge, instead of giving one person a lot of ult charge, which is the worst thing to do. So, going into this next thing, so I've talked about the bubble. I'm going to wrap up with the bubble. If you see any CC, any ability that can stun you or like sleep you or anything, you just want to bubble and just dance around, go in and out of your bubble. So I see the Rip Tire, and this Junkrat was camping up here and it was getting annoying. That's all he would do, just camp up there and wreck anyone who tried to use high ground, which is something that Winston is kind of good at. So, yeah, now I've talked about the bubble. Now I'm going to go into really the jump pack mechanics. Okay, so what you're going to want to do with the jump pack is, first of all, you want to save it. Always save your jump pack for either a disengage. I mean, you can use it to engage. But look at that engage right there. I see the Orisa pop her ulti, so I'm just going to bubble it. And she's wasted most of the value out of her ult just because of that bubble. Now we are dying, but I mean, I've been able to use that bubble also to distract her, so I get a crossfire on the Junkrat and he just gets wrecked. I see a Bastion, so I'm going to use this cover right here. I noticed the Ryan is going to come for me, so I'm going to bubble right here to protect myself while I can kind of just re-coordinate. And Mercy's going to GA over to me, so I notice we just got to crouch behind this cover, but we're too surrounded. So I see this Bastion I'm going to go for. I'm going to bubble. I'm just going to do everything I can to kill him. I kill him, and now I'm in their backline, and I'm just messing with them. I got their Mercy. I'm going to primal. And then I can just knock them all around and uncoordinate them. So I see the Ana is low, so I'm going to go for her. I take out the Ana. And I've gotten both their healers. Even though the Mercy's probably respawned by now, she's stuck with the Bastion, which I can take advantage of because I can just go around the cover, bubble him, and just focus the Mercy because the Bastion's out of line of sight, but the Mercy is still in line of sight. So I jump around. Bastion leaves the Mercy, leaves her with Orion, so I get the Mercy. Now it is overtime, and we're probably going to lose this game because I've got nobody with me. But the overall game doesn't really matter because I was playing pretty good in that fight. I had a lot of mistakes, but also the positives there were I was focusing the supports, the squishies, and I also focused just low people that have a lot of value like that Bastion. So now we're on Junkertown, and when I joined this game to get footage for this, it was a rough looking game. They had used up most of their time just to get to this point, and I was like, oh, I probably can't even use this for gameplay, but this turned out to be a really good game. So already right there, that was just me kind of experimenting, seeing what they're playing like. So now I know how to play, and you can see there, I just checked to see if they opened the secret door, and they hadn't. So I knew I was in a body game. If you don't know about the door, you're a bot. Not really, but I'm trying to really get into the game right now because I've joined halfway through, so I need to really test the waters almost, So now I'm ready to play hard. So I see this Widow. I'm gonna bubble her, isolate her. She gets away, but I've forced her off, and now she can't pressure us as we're going through this choke point right here because she's gonna be busy trying to get heals. So I'm just gonna jump in, bubble. I always bubble behind me so they don't really get enough damage on the bubble in the early part of it, so I can fall back to the bubble, and then I've got enough time to probably regenerate my jump pack. So right here you can see this is where you just want to use your jump pack straight up because you can sneak in that melee combo I talked about in the last video, and you're gonna be able to just do better. So jump pack, you get more value if you aim at lower than a 45-degree angle, but you don't want to aim straight at the ground. You want to aim right in between 45 and 0. Because if you aim too high, you're just going to go straight up. So right there, I'm just trying to wait for my bubble to regen and distract the Widowmaker so she can't pressure us, or the soldier actually. I've got a tiny screen, so I can't really see much. So now I'm going to jump back onto the Widow. I'm going to take her out. I see the soldier there, so I'm just going to hide in the bubble and wait to regen and get a new bubble. Then I'm going to initiate on him. I notice he tacked visored. Don't really know what Pharah was doing there. I could have easily taken out the soldier. So I'm going to bubble right here so we can get the payload through this choke without using up Ryan's shield. And so I'm going to use the bubble to slow us down so we have enough time for Ryan to be able to get us to that first right alcove area. I noticed the Widow, so I'm going to take her out. Just easy stuff. Ryan, I don't know what he's doing. I see him over there. So I'm like, okay, I got to get back to the rest of our line then. I can't play too aggressive because then if they flank, then we're all dead. So I'm going to bubble again. Notice how I bubbled in the air. Just so, because you don't want to just, you want to use the bubble when you're low. You don't want to just hide in the bubble because you're not getting value out of it. It's like with Ryan, you don't want to just go out and shield when you don't have teammates there at all. There's no point in shielding if you're not shielding anything from the damage. So I'm getting low, but I can primal again. And so I'm just going to pressure their back on heavily. And it's just going to be a cakewalk from here. I can bubble. The fight's already over. I mean, our other Ryan has gone down. But with this kind of advantage, it's going to be close again because the Ryan has gone down. I'm going to get a bubble in. I know I'm going to die, and we do lose the fight. But we've baited out a lot of their ults, and we've got position. We've got 10 seconds and 2 minutes. I don't know why I said it backwards. So now I'm going to talk about Winston's just kind of like a summary, basically, about the overall just rules of Winston, basically. So we'll start that in a sec. Okay, so now that you've gotten all of his abilities, mostly down. This is more like a basic guide. This isn't really an advanced guide. I'm just going to talk about the overall gameplay style of Winston. So right here, I'm just, again, like I showed in that Roadhog clip on Route 66, or Hollywood actually, I'm shooting that diva just so I can get free ult charge for this final fight. So the play style of him is to go into the back line, and if you can't do that, just focus the squishies, and if you can't even do that, you can do soft engaging, which if you haven't watched the last video, I'll give a brief summary. Basically, it's when less is more. You just don't fight. You just, like, if you're on an escort map like this, and you're defending instead of attacking, you just contest. You just wait for them to push out to try and take out your front line, and you can contest. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe,